It's me, Egbert, once again. I'm the new owner of this station. I went out and hired the best talk radio consultant, Jeff Allen from News Talk STL, and told him to hire the worst talent he could find. Jeff did exactly as I told him. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Brad and John.
Okay, we haven't talked about this before. We'll talk about it right now. Story that got a lot of publicity yesterday, but we didn't touch on it yesterday. Maybe, I don't know why. Local story. Andy Frisella, okay?
Yeah.
You ready for this, John?
You want to explain who he is?
Hold on a minute. Something's messed up here. Okay. I had the wrong button pushed. Okay, try it again. Let me see if you're back. Say something.
Oh, do you want to explain who Andy Frisella is for folks who don't know the name?
First off, I will make a disclaimer. Andy Frisella is the owner of Supplement Superstores and a company called Phorm. Okay, for several years they were advertisers on this very radio station, and I appreciate their business. They were great to work with. They no longer advertise with us. Second off, Andy's relatives were also clients of this radio station, the Frisella Nursery people, and we had Tony Sr., Tony Jr., who I know, Babette, who is Tony Sr.'s sister. They are Tony Sr. And Babette were the son and daughter of, I can't remember his name. It might have been, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he's the founder of Frisella Nursery. Started up in North County and ultimately moved around a little bit. Now they're out in the Defiance area off of Highway F, just off of Highway 94. Okay, Andy Frisella, I know a little bit of the story because of the fact that this was taught to me when I was doing work for the Supplement Superstores people. Andy Frisella, I believe, was a student at Southwest Missouri State when they called it that, which is now Missouri State, okay? And was always into fitness and bodybuilding and things like that. And him and I think a buddy started the original Supplement Superstore in Springfield. And I looked at this again yesterday, and not only is the original store still there, it might not be in the original location, but they have two other stores. They have several stores throughout the Midwest. Their main headquarters here is in St. Louis. And he's become extremely successful to the point where they just finished, about a year ago, they finished their new warehouse and distribution center out in Fenton, where the old Chrysler plant was. I don't know if you know this or not, but they have a big building they built from the ground up. Andy has done very well for himself and has many expensive cars. How do I know this? Because of the fact that he has videos. As a matter of fact, he's done videos. You know who Grant Cardone is? Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, we've talked about him many times on the show.
Right, he's been featured on Grant Cardone videos. Okay, now, I will say this up front, where I'm a car guy, but I've talked about the fact, and I don't want to come off as like some crazy goody two-shoes guy. Maybe because of the fact that my 3 years of when I worked for 3 years in college, I was a police dispatcher. I got to know police. I got to know the personal side of police. I got to know what they deal with every day. And once again, it'll be 2 weeks ago today that I was pulled over by a female police officer. Okay? Now, I will tell you this up front. I've said before, I am real nice to police. I get pulled over all the time. It's a crazy, weird story. It's because of my license plates, okay? And I know people are going to say, yeah, right. Trust me, it's because of my license plates, because of the fact that there's a long, complicated story to my license plates, but we'll just leave it at that, okay? They're not illegal. They're just a little bit different, and they draw attention, okay? And that's the key word. These cars that Andy Frisella drives are drawing attention, but not good attention. There's two guys on the internet from California, and they have a very, very, very popular YouTube channel called Daily Driven Exotics. And their whole deal is they buy Ferraris and Lamborghinis and McLarens and stuff like that, and they're trading them and they're driving them, and they're, and the one guy, he's like a hothead kind of guy. And the bizarre thing is he's from Canada. He gets pulled over all the time. Now, first off, I don't care if you're driving a Volkswagen Rabbit or a Lamborghini, whatever the current model is. If you're driving safely and you're not, accelerating crazily and you're not doing 30 miles an hour over the speed limit, the chances of you being pulled over are pretty slim, okay? But yet, if you repeatedly get pulled over, and just like these daily driven exotic guys, there must be, and I'm not exaggerating, there must be 30 to 40 videos of this one guy being pulled over by the cops. You know he's doing something crazy, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that, right? Okay, so the story is Andy has a very successful podcast, and he has a lot of social media followers. And apparently, was it last Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that?
Sometime last week on his podcast.
He goes on a rant essentially saying that women shouldn't be, I'm going to, pull it in a couple words. Women shouldn't be police officers. Is that safe to say? That would be a good way of sort of condensing what he said?
Yeah, I think it was more along the lines of women aren't intimidating as police officers, and they shouldn't be out on the front lines confronting grown men, I think is what it is.
Right. And now what's interesting was, I don't know if you know this or not, he said this, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, not knowing that he said that on National Women's Police Officer Day. Did you know that part of the story?
Yeah, I saw that in the Post-Dispatch.
Yeah, I'm going like, dude, wrong day. Dude, that would be like, National Italian American Day. Oh, those Italians, they should never come to the United States. It's not the kind of day you want, especially in that kind of thing. It's like, you don't want to criticize black people on Martin Luther King's birthday. You know what I'm saying? You just don't want to do that.
Do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not good the other 364 days of the year, but on that day especially, you shouldn't be criticizing MLK. Same thing with him, okay? So he goes off on this crazy rant, and I'm thinking to myself, and he talks about, the one example he gives, he talks about he got pulled over by two women police officers, and they had him face down on the ground. You remember this part of the story?
No, I don't remember this.
Okay, they had him face down on the ground. They pulled him out of the car, maybe a Tariq Hill kind of thing. They pulled him out of the car. They had him face down on the ground. They're going to put him in handcuffs and take him to jail. And a male police officer shows up and says, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the male police officer picked him up and go, hey, man, you're cool. Get back in your car and get the hell out of here. So supposedly the male police officer diffuses the situation. The females, already had him down on the ground. He's eating the pavement, and he's about ready to wear the cufflinks or, the bracelets on his hands, and he's going to the slammer, okay? And he tells the story. I'm going like, dude, first off, if you are face down on the pavement with any police officer, you didn't say that. You didn't get there by telling them how nice their car looked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't get there by saying, oh, officer, it's so good to meet you today. That's not how you ended up face down on the pavement. Get what I'm saying, John?
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. So talk a little bit more for folks who haven't followed this. And by the way, folks can find this link. I had it up on my website. You could search for Frisella or Supplement Superstore. But talk a little bit about what happened after this podcast.
Well, because obviously he has a lot of police officers that go to her stores and buy stuff, because they're, a lot, especially the younger guys and the gals, they're into staying fit. And that's what Andy's whole thing is, the Supplement Superstores. You go in there, the guys, and once again, he hires excellent people. You go into the store, it's like Nordstrom kind of service. It really is. The guys are very knowledgeable about their product, and most of the guys are in great shape. You don't go in there and seeing some Neville Nerdley looking guy that looks like, he'd never been inside of a gym. You go in there and look, the guys who work there and gals look like they just got out of the gym, and super friendly and super great to deal with. Okay. He has a lot of police officers that do business with him. Plus, he does fundraising for a lot of the police departments, St. Louis City, St. Louis County. And bango boingo, right away. Chief of St. Louis Police, we have nothing to do with Andy Frisella, our First Phorm, our Supplement Superstores. County Police, we will have nothing to do with Andy Frisella and Supplement Superstores and First Phorm. They essentially have totally distanced themselves from him and want nothing to do with him, and essentially have told him they don't want his fundraising anymore. They don't want anything from him. They just want to be left alone by Andy Frisella, which is to the point where it's like, okay, not necessarily a good move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that over time, don't you think they'll eventually start taking money from him again, and they're going to look at what he does? That money's going to go somewhere. He's not going to continue. He's not going to stop doing good just because he got canceled by the thought police.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he'll take that personally. Maybe he'll never send him another penny. I can see it both ways. I can see to the point where, and quite honestly, I don't know the finances of his company that well, but I'll give you a perfect example. And I speak from yesterday. I went into Wally's. I'm heading out west on 44 to go out to the transmitter sites out in Washington, and I stopped in Wally's in Fenton. You ever been to Wally's before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and it's like half of a Buc-ee's. Essentially, it's
that's what you told me before on the show. Yeah, I've never been there, though.
It's a big monster convenience store with like 60 gas pumps, but it's like half a Buc-ee's because the Buc-ee's have like 120 gas pumps and the building's twice as big. There's a big monstrous display right where you walk in the door about First Phorm, and once again, this is Andy Frisella's company. All their new energy drink, and there's literally pallets of it, and also
I drink them, Brad. I mean, I should say that I'm powered in the afternoon by First Phorm. When they're on sale at Deerbergs, I buy First Phorm. Go ahead.
Do you really?
Absolutely, yeah. Now I refuse to buy First Phorm stuff for years, but we can get back to that after you go on for a few more minutes.
Okay, so you must like the stuff then, right?
Oh, the First Phorm energy drinks are phenomenal. They're so good, but they're expensive. So I only get them when they're on sale at Deerbergs.
Interesting. Okay, so once again, here we have to look at this and we have to weigh the pluses and minuses. Here's a local guy who essentially came from, little or nothing, who now runs a multi-million dollar company. Is got lots of employees in the St. Louis area. I don't know how many stores. I think he's got like 10 in the St. Louis area. You figure each store probably has, 10, 15 people that work there.
And then not counting. So then also the amount of people he employs for First Phorm, not just Supplement Superstore, but First Phorm.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, he actually sells his supplements and things like that to other people. In other words, it's you can
I'm sure
you can go in and buy various products that he doesn't make at the Supplement Superstores, but obviously he has his own products as well too. But he sells his products to other supplement stores around the country, and that's how he's really starting to take off. So I'm going like, okay, he said some stupid stuff. Is this the cancel culture gone awry, or is this?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, here's the thing. I remember being surprised hearing, I don't know, a year or two ago that he either hosted an event for a conservative candidate out in West County. The details escape me here, but I remember a bunch of the short hair crowd and the angry woke crowd was really mad about it because I think it was one of the first times he had taken an overtly political stance. I'll look that up tonight, Brad, and maybe we talk about it or at least reference it tomorrow. It was for some conservative candidate or cause. Now, I didn't like Supplement Superstore early on for a really petty reason, which is every time I went to the gym, I saw the typical AFC, average frustrated chump, walking around wearing an S2 faction shirt. So S2 is like S squared,
right.
Like Supplement Superstore. Every bum in the gym would be walking around wearing a Supplement Superstore shirt. So because I have, as one of our listeners called, oppositional, God, she's going to correct me on this. But if I see a lot of people doing something, I'm going to swear off it and say, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. So when I see everybody at my gym, and it's unfair to call them schlubs, but when I see everybody at my gym wearing a First Phorm Supplement Superstore, I say, look, I'm never buying anything from First Phorm. I'm never going to support something that the majority of people do. And then I tried First Phorm energy drinks, Brad. And I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is so good. This is like ecstasy in an aluminum can. And it was so good. So, and then once I heard that this gentleman was supporting some conservative causes, or at least not liberal woke causes, I was like, ooh, this is good. Maybe I can get on board with First Phorm. I'm still not going to wear the type of shirt that every AFC in the gym is wearing around while he's doing, poor form bent over rows or really sloppy bench presses. I'm never going to be that guy, but I will buy First Phorm energy drinks.
John, you're not going to be that guy because you don't have the 22-inch pythons. You know what I mean? You don't have the 22-inch biceps.
True. Now, speaking of exercise, one of the things that I learned from the Post-Dispatch coverage was that Andy Frisella is the creator of 75 Hard. You've heard of that, right, Brett?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Andy Frisella, I had no idea. I thought that was just some random exercise dude somewhere else in the country. Now, I would never do a 75 Hard, obviously, but I know that a lot of people who have, including elected officials who shall remain nameless, do 75 hard, and it's incredible for them.
Okay, now knowing John's past when he talks about things like that, when sometimes John gets into the murky area of sexuality, explain to everybody what 75 hard is.
Well, first of all, it was how your wife described her college experience, and then she met Brad, and then she settled down. Secondly, 75 hard, Brad, I'm joking, and I hope you don't take that personally. Secondly, 75 hard is a workout program by which you'll usually see it on social media, especially around New Year's. And 75 hard is a program by which people abstain from alcohol for 75 years. They do, I believe, 2 individual workouts a day, and I believe one of those can include walking. And there may be a daily a daily meditation piece to 75 hard as well. The reason why I reflexively recoil when I hear things like this is because those same people that post on January 1st about their New Year's resolutions, 10 days in, they will quit. They'll be back to being on the couch, stuffing sugar in their fat face, and then whining about the fact that their joints are sore and they don't sleep well.
Well, no.
So I recoil generally against that type of thing. But for people who actually follow 75 hard, I know people, Brad, who have sent me their before and afters, and it's transformative. Now, do people stay with it in July and August? Most people don't, of course. They're back to being fat schlubs and getting in my way every time I try to go to the store, But other than that, it's a great program for people that actually put this in practice.
You said not drink alcohol for 75 years? Isn't it 75 days? Or is it?
Yeah, maybe I misspoke a word, Brad, so sue me.
Yeah. Oh, no. I just want to make that clear, because 75 days, in other words, January 1st, you're not supposed to take a drink till like mid-March. Isn't that what the deal is?
That's correct.
Right,
Yeah, that would be 75 days.
Okay.
So 75 hard is the idea that
Right.
I'm guessing the hard comes from the fact that it's a challenge to
It's
do.
not easy. I mean, you're right. It's to the point. That's the reason why on January 2nd, the gyms are filled, and by February 2nd, not so much. By March 2nd, it's not so much anymore. And by April 2nd, there's nobody there anymore, right? That's essentially.
Yeah, but the great thing about this is I didn't know until you pointed that out, Brad, that this gentleman was, if you're from North County, everybody remembers Frisella Nursery.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes sense. I mean, that's
right there in
not
Lindbergh.
a very common name.
Right there in Lindbergh. Frisella.
And I believe, look, here's the thing. This guy's going to continue doing great things, and these groups will inevitably come crawling back to him. And you know what? If I was him, I would probably play hard to get for a while, and I would probably say, okay, you know what? You guys don't want my money. You don't want the support of my brand and my organization. Have it your way.
Well,
keep doing your thing.
Do the Burger King thing, right? Okay. Andy Frisella, if you're listening, if not, someone pass this along to him. Andy, my son can teach you how to do the perfect traffic stop. Your fortunes will turn around 180 degrees, because don't do the Tyreek Hill thing. If you get pulled over, like you do all the time, because I know you do, hands on the steering wheel, keys on the dashboard, window down. Police officer, good afternoon, sir or madam, whatever the case is. How may I be of service to you? What did I do wrong? Be like the nicest guy you ever have been in your life, and things will not go wrong for you. Trust me. Andy.
Amen. And hey, get rid of, Brad, the other lesson from Brad Hildebrand, get rid of the sequential plate. The one that's got all S's on it. You got to drive to Jeff City to renew it. It causes more headaches, and you get pulled over. Andy, get rid of the all S's license plate.
John, say goodbye.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.